Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of the Not Making the Cut podcast. I am your host, Corey Stevens. This podcast was inspired by a 2-year-old whose life was changed forever when his mom became paralyzed from the waist down due to a crime in Paterson, New Jersey. Growing up wasn't easy due to lack of resources and parental guidance, as he's never met his father. He watched family members struggle with drug addictions and run-ins with the law. He looked to sports as a potential way out. However, he realized early on that his talents would not get him to the next level, thus him not making the cut. He pivoted to a professional career in banking and then moved into advertising, where he is today, and he's still pushing forward. That kid that's inspired this podcast is me. I created this platform to inspire kids and young adults to not give up after not making it in sports. I also want to bring to light some individuals who have pivoted away from playing sports into successful careers. With that said, I want to introduce my first guest. He was a star basketball player at my alma mater, Eastside High School in Paterson, New Jersey, most famously known for the movie Lean on Me and Yes, We Know the School Song. He went on to junior college where he was an All-American. He went to the University of New Orleans as an All-Conference player and ESPY Award winner. He also played 15 years overseas professionally. I would like to introduce to you my friend, my brother, Mr. Kawan Johnson. What's up, Kay?
I'm great. See, how you feeling, brother?
I'm good, man. Thank you for being a part of this, man. I appreciate it, man.
Man, I've been looking forward to it.
Great. That's awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Because I know your story. I know your journey. I mean, we came up together down by the YMCA in Paterson. I was there when you tore up your knee your sophomore year, and I watched you work to get to where you are today. I actually was in the gym with you, passing you the ball and swimming in the swimming pool when you was running in the pool with your Jordans on and your shoes on. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey? Because I feel like you're a special individual to me. You're also someone who has overcome a lot throughout your life, and would love to hear the story you have to tell.
Man, before I even begin, I just want to tell you how much I thank you for what you're pulling off right now, and I look forward to what's to come. So just to jump into my journey, man, it's not too much more different than what a lot of young people in Paterson and other inner cities are going to, right? Single mom, it was just me and her till we were about 10. She got married. I was in that house for a little bit, but then, I wanted to get to know my father and things of that nature. And in doing so, I embarked upon a journey that I wasn't truthfully prepared for. A dad that's hard battling the drugs. And, like there'd be times where, and those that know Milt, God bless him, there'd be times where I might see him on the first of the month. I might not see him for a couple of months. So you grow up real fast when going through things like that, man, and just having just numerous family members and friends just murdered, just in going through, there are a lot of people that speak the story. I had quite a few buddies of mine growing up that are no longer here today, and it wasn't that they passed away because of old age, man. The city got the best of them, man. And right now, I've been in a fortunate position to become a mentor. And after dealing with a lot of the unfortunate truths that we have to deal with in cities like Paterson, like having a dope head as a parent, if you will, and just in having a bunch of friends that I grew up around where, like Biggie said in the song, either you slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. My jump shot wasn't initially wicked, but my hops were. And it's funny because all of the accolades that you spoke of, that came after I destroyed my knee, in which on February the 22nd, the injury happened. I would never forget it. It was a Thursday. We were playing Passaic High School. Mm-hmm. And on Friday the 23rd of that February 1990, I had a surgery where they reconstructed my knee because a piece of the kneecap was in my calf. The other piece was in my thigh. So they took stainless steel screws and put it together. And one of the things that I remember, man, was just when I finally got out the hospital and I got to go see some of the state tournament and I'm passing some of the older guys that were vets in the game, man, and that I look up to. And I just used to hear a lot of them tell me how legitly I would never be anything. I'm done. I'm this, I'm that. But it was all just negative, man. And to hear some of these guys say this, I mean, guys that I don't even want to use their name, guys that I looked up to. I mean, guys that were this one guy was even an NBA player, and just to really look at me and tell me I'd never be nothing, that just weighed on me. And so I just used that, man. Once they okayed me to work out, I didn't realize I was working hard. I just was trying to create the best version of myself that I could. You know, it was either go into the streets, get this hustle game on, or go into the wire repeatedly and swim, exercise, shoot, cry, rinse and repeat, man. Because my whole junior year of high school, I was taking pain medicine after every game, after every practice. You know, some teammates used to ask, why am I doing it? And I didn't have an answer. But
Yeah.
then my senior year popped up and Coach Baker gave me an answer. Johnson, you don't want to be stuck in Patterson, boy. You know what I mean? You know Coach Baker. And so, that helped inspire me, man. And I can't even lie to you. I didn't have visions of going to play in college ball. I didn't know what a game plan was, man. There was nobody there instructing me on the journey, man. So I'm just thankful for the people that was there to help create a better version of me, because I wanted and needed that, man. And I would just want young people to know that it's not about just not making it to the NBA or the NFL or professional tennis, professional baseball, man. It's about creating the best version of yourself. If you can use a sport to make sure that your college degree is free, or if you can use a sport to graduate from college and then take yourself around the world for the next decade, I would say do it. You know, if you can use a sport to get you into college and your ultimate goal is to become a judge, doctor, lawyer, whatever have you, I'm here to say do it. You know, my journey it's allowed me to become a mentor, and now I just try to give back to those like me.
Yeah. I want to take a little deeper dive on Milt, your father, because as you know, Milt was a father figure to myself. Like, in my opening, I mentioned that, I didn't know my father, I didn't have a father figure. And I don't know if you noticed, when you went away to college, like Milt, like helped guide me, throughout my journey. I didn't go to college. Well, I attempted to go to college, and, because of my situation at home and I needed to, earn a living, I didn't, I left college. I dropped out of college. So, Milt was really important to me. And to this day, like before I go to bed, like I thank, the good Lord for Milton, because, he had his flaws, most definitely, but he was an honorable person. And he, he was a straight shooter, right? So if he felt something, he was going to tell you. And if you were wrong,
Oh,
you
you
were wrong. Yep. If you were wrong, you were wrong. If you were right, you were right. And, to this day, I appreciate that. And I still, to this day, again, I, use some of his teachings in my day to day, whether it be around, being a parent, being a husband, and it's not all what he taught me. It's just watching and observe him, even some of the mistakes that he made, coming up, I learned from those as well. So, I just want to tell you that I appreciate what your father did for me, because, he wasn't a saint, but he was an honorable man, and he was a straight
Yeah,
shooter, and I needed
yeah.
that. And I needed that.
See, man, Corey, man, I can't even tell you how much I appreciate everything that you're saying, because me and my siblings, from a different perspective, if you will, it was difficult to watch Milt be more of a father to others than he was to us. And for me and my siblings, I got more of Milton than any of them. You know what I mean? And what my siblings may not have understood is they may have saw me getting more of him than any of him, but it was a thing of having to deal with the challenges of that drug battle,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, anybody that knows Milt, anytime that dude was in the gym was when he was happiest. Helping somebody create and become better, that was his ultimate high. You know what I mean? I wish he could have lived in the gym 24/7. And I would like to just, you know, I got the opportunity, man. You know, I got to play in Florida in the USBL for the Brevard Blue Ducks. And this is crazy because Harvey Grant, Harvey Grant, the twin brother of Horace Grant, at the time, Harvey had just finished playing with the Washington Bullets. And he calls me up to ask me to come play for his team. Yeah, I hung up on him 3 times. I thought somebody was playing a joke. You know, and it's crazy because, and I let them know that, well, if I'm coming down there to play with your team, then here's what I need. You know, I'm bringing my father down. He's going to need his own room and da-da-da-da. I need a vehicle and done. You know, so I got the opportunity to bring Milt down to Florida with me. And I'm talking about, I'm trying not to goddamn start crying. I'm talking about Corey Milt put on about 25 pounds. Man, I'm taking this dude shopping. He geared up and everything, man. That was the best version of Milton that I had ever seen or experienced. And the crazy thing is, the craziest thing is, the moment he got back to Patterson, all that disappeared.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I think, you know, one of the things I like to share with people that's going to be watching this podcast and that can hear my voice, no matter where you are and who's connected to this and who shares, I think what people don't even realize is I used to have to wear, Milt wore the same clothes when I was in high school, man. So essentially I was just wearing whatever. I'm talking about holy pants, all types of everything, man. And back then I didn't appreciate it, but it humbled the hell out of me.
Yeah.
You know, when I got the opportunity. And now I'm just not even a clothes freak or none of that stuff, man. I'm always comfortable in just what I wear.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I've learned quite a few lessons from him, man. And you know, I love Milt, man. Everybody know that was my guy, and everybody also saw us argue because he was the dude that was every day. Well, that he could have been there. He was just in the gym, man, always yelling at me not to give up, not to do this, not to do that. And I remember I got so tired of him yelling one day, and I'm in the pool doing a workout. I snatched his butt into the pool. After that day, he never came down by the pool. He always stayed up in the window and just watched.
Yeah. Yeah. Milt was something else.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I just appreciate him, man.
Yeah, Milt was great, man. Another person I want to pay a bit homage to, which for my journey, I don't give a lot of credit to, and you've had some exposure to him as well throughout your journey, is my brother Michael.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like you know, as you know, my brother and I, we had to grow up at an early age, right? Like we were adults from the time that situation happened to my mother. And you know, not to glorify what he was doing, but you know, he was out in the streets and he was doing his thing with the drug business. And I didn't understand at the time like how much of a big of a deal my brother was like with that. You know, I wouldn't say that I was blessed because the way it came to me wasn't, you know, the way it should happen. But, you know, I was lucky in high school that I didn't have to worry about those things, right? So my brother, you know, did things in the streets and he was making money in the streets at a really young age. And he would have like speakers full of money in the household that I would go into. And he knew that you know, the household was struggling. And I know from the bottom of my heart that he only did that because he had to because of our situation, right? So I would go in there and just take money out of there. And I thought that was normal. And I would go to school, you know, because you get picked on by certain kids. You know, kids are cruel, right? And especially in high school, kids can be cruel, especially when you ain't the star basketball player like yourself, even though I played, but I wasn't a star. So people would come for me. So, you know, I would get, you know, I would be fly. Like I would have all the newest clothes and all of that stuff. And, you know, but throughout that, my brother always taught me like, Corey, this isn't the way it should be. You know, this isn't normal. Like, don't, you know,
Right.
I'm doing this because I have to. And I don't want this life for you. I don't want this life for you. And, you know, watching him and being behind him and watching him make his mistakes, you know, enabled me not to make those same mistakes. So he kind of like took a lot of the, I would say, if I had to put into some sort of like visual, he kind of stepped on all the landmines for me so I
Yeah.
could not go down that path that he ended up going down. And you know, I just wanted to give him that respect because I don't really talk about him a lot. But I just want Michael, if you're gonna watch this, I just want you to know that I love you and I appreciate everything that you did for me and our mother. And you know, keep pushing, brother. Keep pushing.
I mean, that, and see, man, let me touch upon it as well, man, because it wasn't just your household, man. It was all of the youngsters that were around the area, man. You know, again, right, growing up with a pops that's battling that drug habit every day for me was a battle or a challenge to be like, y'all know, I don't know what I'm gonna eat or if I'm gonna eat. But what I didn't want to do is I didn't even want nobody in the neighborhood to know I was struggling like that. But again, because your brother, the entrepreneur he is and was, he realized, okay, you don't have nothing coming in. So how are you even surviving? And again, there are many nights where that dude made sure that I was able to get food on the table. And I never had to ask any questions. I never had to pay anything back. It was just a thing of, well, man, this is all the little cats from the neighborhood. I ain't gonna let them in. And when you know the streets, you know the streets. And Mike knows the streets. So it was a thing of just, I can't even tell you how many nights that dude has purchased pizza for me, gave me money to go get Chinese food, gave me money to go get, at the time, which was my favorite French fries, the damn Checkers French fries. Lord knows it shouldn't have been. but but talking about it, and here's the thing that was valuable about him, man. At such a young age, he understood just naturally that it took a village. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, man, that Mike helped bring and create a lot of the toughness that was developed in the area we grew up in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Wow.
man, like God is good, man, and you always gotta appreciate the lessons that are laid in front of you. You may not realize them at the time, but he sacrificed himself, man.
Yeah.
He sacrificed, man, and God bless him, man, because he stepped on some landmines for me too as well, man. And Mike, man, from the bottom of my heart, man, I love you, brother, and I can't thank you enough for just the times he sat me down sitting on the stoop, from the times I've asked him, just, what do I got to do to get in the game? And he used to be like, not a damn thing, because this ain't the game you want. You better take your ass upstairs and shoot that shot.
Yeah.
That was that, man. And so guardian angels, man, guardian angels, man. We like Milt was one. He just had to battle some things, man. And Milt and Mike, man, just two great human beings, man, that because of the environment we come up in, not everybody wins that battle, but that's why it's so important right now to do what you're doing, man, to reach out to people, share your story, man, and get people to understand, just because the cover of the book is beautiful, that don't mean the inside is the same thing, man. There is some struggles and challenges and just some hurdles in there that if you don't read this whole book and you just skim through it,
You're
you'll
gonna miss
never
a lot.
really be educated. Yeah, man.
Miss a lot of good content, a lot of strong content. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Kay. I mean that was a little bit of emotional moments.
I know, man.
I want
See,
to segue. I want to segue. I want to take this moment to shout out a black-owned business. Shout out to Shane down at Fast Break Cafe. The food is great, and Shane is doing amazing things in the city of Patterson. Salute to you, my brother. I want to segue a bit into something else. So I want to talk a little bit about because by no means do I want parents to stray away from kids playing sports. Like there's so many like top notch skills and learnings that you can get out of playing sports. Like it's just it can be a great thing, right? From getting
yep.
scholarships to learning how to work with others and things like that. So can you talk a little bit about like some of the lessons that you learned playing sports, and I'll chime in and I'll share a couple of mine because I most definitely have my lessons.
I think one of the most valuable lessons that I've learned playing sports is discipline, teamwork, and accountability. I mean, the thing about and I go to discipline because I say this: anything you want to be good at, you're going to have to be disciplined at it. Anything you want to be great at, you're going to have to be disciplined, accountable, and punctual. You know what I mean? If you think you're going to be a really good basketball player and you're only training once a week, you are lying to yourself. If you want to be a judge and you don't know anything about the Constitution, you're lying to yourself. So, in because of basketball, I've been able to not only travel outside of Patterson, but literally travel the world. You know what I mean? And then have the opportunity to stop playing basketball, and then countries bring me out to their countries to teach and train basketball. So not only have I been fortunate enough to have the opportunity to become a coach of coaches, a trainer of trainers, and then a mentor of young people, but sports is, I can't even wrap it into one little nugget what sports have done to me. I would just use those three. Though actually, let me add one more: discipline, accountability, teamwork, and attitude. The one thing you will learn is whether you can fit in or you need to fit out. You know, and I say that because anything you play other than I mean, and people don't even realize, even when you're a professional tennis player, you got to hold yourself accountable, and you got to be able to work with a team. You got to have a trainer. You got to have management that you listen to, or we will never see you in the US Open. So specifically with sports like football, basketball, baseball, these things that have more than 2-3 people per team, you got to learn so much about the other person on your team. You know what I mean? I mean, I play with players that don't like bounce passes on their catch and shoot. I've played with players, bigs, that only want bounce passes or alley-oops. They don't want chest passes. I mean, it's so much to learn, and you think it's overwhelming, but then before you know it,
It's like, yeah, second nature.
yeah, it's like dancing, man. It's like, what's that? The nay-nay? One of my basketball teams taught me the nay-nay, man. Oh my God.
That's a
And
terrible dance, by the way.
oh my God, man. And one of the other things I wanted to share is, I think for myself, basketball has taught me so much. And I played freshman year of football, and that was the only time. Well, I've also played for Mid-Atlantic Bank in Midget League football. We won a championship, and our quarterback. Those were the only 2 years I've ever played football. And then I'm gonna tell you how funny God is. I go, and all of a sudden I'm coaching at a Catholic school called Eastside Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
Patterson Eastside, where I went to school, their colors are orange, blue, and white. I'm on the other side of the country in Washington. Eastside Catholic colors are orange, blue, and white. So I'm like, this is an omen, right? So I had the opportunity to become the head coach of freshman football at a time when parents were pulling kids out because of all of these head injuries and concussions. So again, man, one of the things that I was a part of was having rugby players come in and teach how to properly tackle. You know, I was fortunate enough to travel to Fiji and do some training, me and my wife, and I got to see the sevens, which is rugby at its finest. You know, and the Fijians are one of the top, if not the top in the world at rugby. So if you can play rugby and not use helmet or equipment or anything and not suffer neck and head injuries, how is this possible?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're talking about, I can't even explain to you how many kids over the next 5 to 6 years ended up going to play top-notch D1. And I would say two that are dear to my heart, uh, uh, Brandon Wellington and Hunter Bryant. Hunter Bryant is with the Detroit Lions right now. You know, so it's crazy because when you are willing to sacrifice, you're going to be successful. I don't care what it is. When you're willing to sacrifice, you are going to be successful. If you're not willing to take a chance on you, then why should somebody else be willing to?
Yeah, I want to add to that point, Kay, because it's funny where we talked about in the past about how, I underachieved in basketball in high school, where I had a skill set and I thought I was super talented. I was super talented. I'm going to own that. The problem with me was initially I didn't love the game. Initially, it was therapy for me, right? I played because all my friends played. I grew up loving football. Like football was my sport to this day. You can see my basement is all done with football. I played basketball because my friends played basketball, and I wanted to be a part of something that my friends did. So it started off being therapy. When I noticed myself to start getting better at basketball was when I started to fall in love with it. And that's a lesson that to this day that I'm finding more recently, that if you don't love what you do, you're not going to get anything out of it. You
Nothing.
can get up every day and just go through the motions and do certain things, and if you don't love it, you're not gonna get positive results out of it. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not the way the universe works. So sports have taught me that in a big way. Another important thing that sports has taught me is that confidence is everything.
Right.
If you're not confident in sports, it's not gonna work out. Like things
The
just
other athletes are
the
going to
game
see
is
it.
too
The
fast.
other
The
athletes
game,
will see it, and they're
yep,
coming at you like
yeah.
wolves.
Yep. And that's the same thing in corporate America where I work. Like if you're not confident, things just happen so fast for you and you just
Hmm.
can't catch up. So confidence and loving what you do is highly important. I want to stress that to young people who are coming up, because if you don't love it, just throw it away and find something else that you do love, because you're not going to get anything out of it.
No
It's just
doubt.
how it is.
And I think what people don't know about me, football is my favorite sport. My favorite by far. But once I decapitated my knee, my mother nor Milt would allow me to even touch a football field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was a thing of where I really could have helped my high school at the time. And, Milt wasn't trying to hear that. Not with the screws in the knee and
Yeah.
everything he watched me endure. And I think sports just brings people together, right? Just think about how many Sundays you've sat around and watched certain NFL games, or how many holiday seasons you've watched certain basketball games during Christmas or whatever have you, man. And that camaraderie that you feel just with your family, and how you love watching with your family and talking junk and everything else. It's the same thing in life, man. You have to, like you said, see, you have to love what you're doing. I don't care if you're a post office worker. If you don't love it, they're going to know. Because some people ain't going to be getting their mail on time, all types of stuff going wrong. But you got to care about what you're doing, man. And life will reward you. The reward may not come when you expect it to, but trust, man. There's a process to this.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about your transition. So when you went from playing professionally overseas, and you had to come back and figure out, okay, well, what's next? I'm not playing anymore. I know you mentioned you're doing a bit of like mentoring kids, and you're also doing some training. I would love for you to talk a little bit about that and how that's going for you. And whatever you got going on, let's sell that.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of this platform as well too. Like we want to promote Black-owned businesses, right? So you are a
Right.
Black-owned business. So
Right.
please share a little bit about what you're doing and promote what you're doing, because we want to strengthen our economy.
And one of the things I share, just one thing before we jump into it. You didn't underachieve. We didn't underachieve. We just didn't have the support team to understand how good we could have been. Even with the points I scored my senior year of high school, to this day, people still believe that I could have averaged even more and did even more. And I'm like, well, maybe I did underachieve. You know what I mean? So it's all perspective, man. And real quick, I do want to, not real quick, I do want to be, so I want to share this, and I want to admit this. Transitioning from being a professional basketball player into what people like to call the real world, that transition was super difficult because I had nobody to warn me about it or help me understand what I would be experiencing. So that transition was challenging for me. And initially, so I remember, see, I'm gonna tell you the exact thing, the exact day it happened. So I'm playing in a tournament in Texas. I'm 35 years old. The league is a 35 and older league. So I'm playing in the league. So my first 2 years in the league, we didn't lose a game, right? We won back-to-back championships. My third year, we about to win the championship. And I'm talking about it's a tie game. And we're down like about 3 points, about a minute and a half to go. And I'm like, it's okay, I'm gonna take it over. I am still waiting to take that game over. And at the time, man, I'm just like, I go to the car afterwards and I'm frustrated because I realized at about 38, 39, I couldn't turn it off and on anymore.
Mm-hmm.
right? So one thing led to another, sat down with the missus, and I'm just was upset. I'm like, it's officially over. And from her perspective, she's like, it's all right, just figure out what's next. And da 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 da. And I couldn't figure out what's next. I didn't know what I wanted to do other than perform, train, perform. But then it became train, teach, how to perform. And once I made that transition, man, it just became a blessing. And not even realizing that it was a blessing. So it's crazy. So I started actually working with, give me 1 second, because I know you can hear him, can't you? Yeah, yeah. No doubt. No doubt. Just ask 1 second. Mom, just do me a big favor. Just ask Pop. It's so just talk, but ask him just to not to yell.
We can edit this. We got the edit. We got the privilege of
Yeah,
the edit.
yeah, no doubt. So so this here, I'll just speak about, if we can, again, I'll just speak about just that challenge, man. And I know my wife actually remembers the day because I said a bunch of words that aren't in the English dictionary. I'm just driving down the road mad at the world because, again, I mean, I can still dunk, I can still handle it, do everything, but now the takeoff wasn't exactly where it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? I can still take off from beyond the dots. I just couldn't do it multiple times in the quarter.
And that
And
landing
so,
is real too.
and it's so crazy that you say that, because now, and I know I'm about to get in, and now as a mentor and as an athletic enhancement trainer, one of the most important things I do with my young people is eccentric training, which essentially helps with explosion, because not only do I teach them how to land, I teach them how to prepare to take off and land. So and I've been blessed, man. I started my own company called Health Results, and for about 4 years in Texas, I partnered with this training facility, and they allowed me to literally run my own business through them, man. And it was just a blessing, man, because I was paying next to nothing for the gym because they wasn't using it anyway. Then I left. Then me and my wife left Texas, and that's how we ended up going up to Washington and Seattle area to work with Eastside Catholic, and started coaching there and training there. And here's the craziest thing: before I got there, they had never won nor been to a state championship, football or basketball. So when I first got there, the first thing I did was I was going to work with the basketball team, but it fell through. So the athletic director just put me with the football team. That's how I became the head coach of the freshman football team. And then I began training them, man. And he allowed me to implement my program, which was extremely difficult and challenging for them. But they did it and they overcame, and we lost in the state title.
Mm.
Then we won the next 3 out of 4 state championships. So it became insane. I introduced them to plyometric training. I introduced them to Vertimax, and I introduced them to explosion training. And then my partner, my Polynesian brother, Lee Fatui, definitely got to shout him out. He introduced them to power training, man. And we were like a marriage, man. And it's crazy, man. And I can't even, I'm right now, I'm so happy about it that it's crazy, man. So now, I got to travel, and I was doing camps in different states, and still mentoring. I mean, started coaching youth basketball. Then I ended up running a program. Then I ended up coaching multiple teams at one time, man. And I look at it like this here. I've coached, I can't even tell you, several programs in Washington. And each year I've coached, we've either made it to the finals and lost, or we won it. And now I get the opportunity, man, and I'm stepping out on a limb here. I'm in South Carolina now, and they don't have the same resources that I was fortunate enough to experience in Washington.
Mm.
So essentially, I'm out in the country, and just like they're in need of some resources that can help them grow, I'm in need of the same thing that can help them. So I just get creative. We do workouts out here in the yard. We meet at parks and we work out. We meet at open recs and we work out. And I've been fortunate enough to be able, in a predicament where I'm literally training these kids for free. And I think back to when I was growing up, if I had the opportunity to have the Rory Sparrows or all of these other guys train me for free, would I have did it? Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
now here I am, man, able to do so, and I just keep doing so. When people from different countries reach out to me for workouts, for plays. I mean, I'm in Fiji, touring Fiji, doing this training, man. The Olympic head coach, Fiji's basketball head coach, reached out to me. We connected. He brought me into their facility, scheduled a practice with the national team, see, and had me teach them how to run a continuous pick and roll offense.
That's good
It
stuff.
blew their mind.
That's good
It blew
stuff.
their mind. So,
Good
you
stuff.
know,
Great stuff.
going out to China and being fortunate enough to work out there for 6 months, where I started out initially, got 10 kids in the camp. Then one day I show up 3 days in a row. We got 300 kids in one camp.
Wow.
So I got a couple of videos on YouTube, man. Kwan Johnson in China, Kwan Johnson in Fiji. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and one vital thing, man, I really want to share with everybody, because I know a lot of people, this is going to blow everybody's mind. Nobody knows I designed solar equipment.
Wow.
Nobody knows I've designed and patented a solar umbrella. And it just was a hobby of something I picked up, man, while in these different countries, man, where we think we're poor, but we can go out and purchase clothing and sneakers and things of that nature, man. But in some of these other countries, man, some of these people are washing their clothes in the same canal or river that they fish in. If they don't catch nothing, they're not eating. The same river they washing their clothes in, and they're taking baths in. You know, my mindset, I saw this, I'm like, you got to be crazy. You know what I mean? But then I saw some of their struggles, man, and just realizing that solar will be something that can impact and help them. Until this day, man, you know, people in the Philippines treat me like that. I'm like the Allen Iverson of the Philippines.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
would
I
actually
know.
need security if I walk back there right now. You
That's
know, go
great.
back there right now. So
That's
it's
great.
been a blessing, man. You know, but then you come home and to Patterson, and unfortunately, you're still ducking and dodging bullets in the streets so that you can make it. But the
Yeah.
thing about that is it's going to teach you a resilience that nothing else can. So
Yeah.
prepare yourself to be better.
It's different now, Kay. Like I think about like us growing up when we were in Patterson, and the word respect was just it was there. Like, right, no matter what, like I'll use this as an example. If you play sports for Eastside Kennedy, Patterson Catholic, Don Bosco, whatever, Passaic County Tech, people knew who you were. And if you were in
Facts.
certain areas and things were about to pop off, they would make sure you
So
get
you
out of
get out of
there
here.
before that happened. Like we could
Exactly.
walk the streets of Patterson and not have to worry about anything. Like they would tell us, young fella, get up out of here because this ain't where
Fine.
you need to be. Right? That's the era we grew up in. Nowadays, man, they don't care, man. Like they'll see somebody standing outside who is 6'9" tall, and he the star basketball player on X, Y, Z or Z team, and they'll let off, and he'll get hit, and
Don't care if you get
his
hit.
his
Yeah.
life is over. His life is
Yeah,
over
man.
without even thinking twice about it. And those are
Yeah.
the things that I think is different from when we grew up versus now, where people they don't care, man. They don't care. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to create this platform. That is the reason why I wanted to create this platform, because I want people to know, and young kids to know specifically, is that you don't have to be out there to succeed. Like you don't have to be. It's so temporary. Like that lifestyle is so temporary, man. Like I witnessed it again. One of those landmines that my brother stepped on was that street life, and I realized at an early age that life is so temporary, and it's only going to get you it's probably going to get you about 10 feet, but it'll knock you back 1,000 feet.
Hmm.
Right? So
It's like
it's
milk, man. Eventually,
yeah,
it's gonna go sour.
yeah. You need to be like patience is important. It's important to be patient, and if you stay on task and you keep focused and you keep pushing forward, it'll come to you. It may come to you later on in life, but before you know it, it'll be later on in life, and you'll
Yep.
look back and say, all that hard work and that journey that I was on, right, embracing that journey that you've taken throughout your in your life, you know you'll see that it was worth it. That patience was worth it, because I couldn't imagine, you know back when I was consider myself, not consider myself, but I was like modeling clothes for Betty Dixon, who lived in our building on the third floor. And I
Right.
remember her telling me that, she was just starting the business, that she didn't have the money to pay me at the time. And I said to her, I said, oh no. And I was about 19 years old. And I said to her, no, you don't have to pay me. Just help me put my resume together and help me get a job where you work. And that was the turning point of, like, one of the turning points of my life, one of the smartest decisions I've made, because that's where I started my career in corporate America. And then I was able to get to where I am now. So just like things like that, and being
Wow. That's
patient
deep.
and playing chess and understanding that, because think about it, Kay, at 19 years old, somebody hand you $500, you're going to take that money and you're going to go buy sneakers, an
Straight downtown
outfit.
Patterson or Willowbrook
Yeah,
Mall.
exactly. You're going to go to International Bodies
You already know, man. You already know,
and come
man.
back with a whole fit that's only going to last you, whatever amount of days or how many
February
wearing.
6th.
Yeah, I mean, weird. But, at the time I was playing chess, and I said to her, I said, no, this isn't, there's nothing long-term with me having $500. Help me get a job, help me put my resume together. And I did that. And, that started my corporate career. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for Betty for doing that for me. So yeah, it's all about the resilience. Like you said, it's having that resilience and having patience alongside of that will
Yeah, man.
help you get to where you want to go, because there's no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts.
And well, I find that one of the most important things in life is change or growth, if you will, because if you're in a rut and you're not willing to grow or change, and you wonder why you stay in the same rut for so long, you have to begin to look yourself in the mirror and accept that, change is going to be better for me, or growth is going to be, I mean, not all change is good, but I'm just saying growth. If you're in a rut and there's a circle you can't get out of, you may need to step out of that circle into a different one. Because the truth be told, in this life, there is no box. People tell you to think outside the box or think inside the box. No, think like there's no box. Just, it's okay to do that. It really is, man. I mean, how many people right now in this country would train a group of high school kids for free? A group of elementary school kids for free. I'm not even tripping on what I'm not getting, man. I'm more thankful for what I'm able to give. You know what I mean? I mean, you have these young men now offering to come and cut the grass or pick crops for me or do whatever, because I know I ain't in the city no more, man. I'm out here sitting on big watermelon garden and okra and spinach and tomatoes and eggplant. Yep. Can't believe it. You know what I mean? I don't, you know, I never thought I'd see myself here. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not in the Spanish food store in Patterson got a $3.50 meal. Shoot.
Now, okay, I will say this about you though. You never had a problem with like upping and going somewhere like different. I remember when
Yeah.
you went to junior college and you were out in Iowa, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Iowa.
Iowa.
Iowa, the
Like you went
McDonald's store
straight
at
from
9 o'clock.
Patterson to Iowa. I don't know many people that could do that. Like that was, to me, I was just like, what are you gonna do in Iowa? But you figured it out, and you understood that at the time that was a part of the journey that you needed to take in order to get where you wanted to go. So realizing that was a pivotal moment for you, and you needed to do that in order to, again, to get to where you wanted to go. So
See, man, we were fortunate enough to grow up around a group of us that we were like-minded. We all wanted to get better. Initially, it was at basketball, and because we wanted so bad to get better at basketball, it did help us transition into other stuff, because we like, we're used to this essence of, what's that smell? Oh, growth.
yeah,
Because in basketball, if you can't dribble, how do you get better at it?
you
If
got
you
to go
can't
dribble.
shoot, how do you get right? You know what I mean? So in life, if you don't have a resume put together, what do you need to do? And then once you get a resume put together, as your career or your employer, as you as an employer grow, you now get to create a portfolio. I remember back in the day when I'm like, what the heck is a portfolio? Is that a pen? Did Picasso do that? Like, you know what I mean? But then all of a sudden you start seeing how they can manipulate and put these accolades together and put this whole story together. And I remember I saw my portfolio. I was like, what? Who is that dude? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I have been a lot of places when, I mean, man, see, I'm a kid from Patterson, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Grew
a
up on
blessing.
10th and 25th first. Grew up on Harrison Street. Montgomery Park helped raise me. The YMCA and Prince Street helped hone my skills.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally able to be the guy. Like, if there was some hooping going on at Montgomery Park and some team from some other city, whatever, came and they took over the court, the kids would come knock on my door or somebody would page me. Yo, we need you at Montgomery 911. I already knew what it was. Sneakers in the back of the truck. I'm on the way. I got you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I remember when, and this is funny, man, when they first said about the Tim Thomas tournament,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, they having it where? Ain't nobody checking with me. I'm like, okay, I got to destroy this tournament. You know, and then he comes with Vince Carter and James Scott and
Yeah.
Donald Hand and all of these people.
Yeah.
And I just remember lighting that dang park up and then getting the opportunity, man, to go head to head with Vince at the time and
Yeah.
us coming out on top. Like,
Yeah.
historically in Patterson, that's one of the greatest games that people ever, you know, they talk about, man. I hear from people to this day, man, when they reach out to me, be it on Facebook or whatever, they're like, yo, do you remember the day, man, you and Vince? And some of the people are like, nah, but I've been hearing the stories, you know, and, you know, I mean, we've had some great things come through, man, because of quality people like the Tim Thomases, man, and some of the guys that we had running recreation back in the day, like Twig, man. I wish I knew Twig's real name, but and we just had some really good people like the older dudes, Mo and a couple of other people, man, that was really just trying to make Patterson a cool place to be.
Good place to be. Yeah. So I want to kind of like, I guess, level set and get some of the younger people to understand like who you were as a basketball player, right? So I want to ask you this one question. I know who I think you are to like your equivalent today, but if you had to pick one player that's playing in NBA today, like who would that person be? Like who would you be? I guess is the question. Like who is your equivalent in the NBA today?
And the funny thing is, so I remember being asked this question before, and years back, I used to be like, yo, I'm more like J.R. Smith, but I might be a little bit more crazier and determined, right? And so everybody that comes up to me that knows me always say, man, Russell Westbrook reminds me of you. And the more I watch him play, he really does remind me of myself, to where I remember, man, when I used to go to dunk, I used to dare somebody to be in the way. Because all of everything I've been through, the surgeries, the drug addict father and uncles and family members, and the family members that's been murdered, you know, man, having my cousin Ray murdered on my 15th birthday, like all of that came through when I dunked, man. And if you was there, I just used to love making you famous,
Yeah.
because you're going to be on the wrong end of this poster. And I
Yeah.
didn't care who you was, what park we was at. I didn't care if it was Teaneck. I didn't care if it was the Rucker. I didn't care if it was Maywood, Montgomery Park, the projects. I didn't care where it was, the pound, you got it.
Yeah.
You know, and I just, you know, I'm really thankful, man, because Patterson helped me develop that edge, man. And when I got to go play elsewhere, like college ball and everything, I mean, they have a video of me when we were playing against, I believe it was Western Kentucky at home. This kid came to take a charge, and I jumped clear over his head. I hadn't even realized that happened, see, until I saw the video that New Orleans posted. I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. You know, and even on in junior college, man, and you can take a look at it on YouTube where it says Kawan Johnson and JUCO. Kid goes to take a charge. His coach yells out, take a charge. He must not have read the scout report. I jumped smooth over his head. See, I'm talking about punched it. And it was an and one, and he hit the ground. And all, you know, this dumb dance back in the day, after I dunked on him, I stood over him and did the butterfly. You know what I mean? But that was that Patterson mentality. Like, yo, we don't care about you and what you're going through. We got our own,
Got our own
you know,
problems and our
and
own things to get through.
exactly, man. So these young people, you may not understand the edge that you're developing right now, but you'll be able to use that throughout life, man, and learn to hone that edge, man, and continue to just nurture it. Because again, you may see yourself as just a lump piece of coal, And the greatest story, I mean, oldest story and ever, always and ever told is, with pressure, what does coal turn into? Diamond, man. So you gotta be okay with accepting that pressure and moving forward. And I think that's one of the most important things just in life. Accept the pressure and move forward. I move like I just always blame myself. It's always my fault. So I've just gotten used to not blaming others and just like, you know what, that's my fault. I could have handled that situation better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I mean, it's growth, man, and it's for some it's going to be change.
Yeah.
And travel. The world is beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't let the TV or somebody that doesn't know or somebody that you may think know tell you what it's like. Go see for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never been to the Atlantic Ocean, go see it. That's
Yeah.
Mom Dukes sneaking by. You've never been to the Atlantic Ocean yourself, go see it. You've never been on the Wildwood, go see it. You've never been on the Asbury Park, go see it. But once you've seen parts of New Jersey, go visit New York. Go visit Pennsylvania. Once you've seen all that, man, they got these highways called Route 80 and Route 95. Route 80 goes from New York to San
California.
Francisco. Think about that. 95 goes from New York to the Florida Keys. Like, jump on the road, man. Get you and a couple of friends. Go see something, man. Go see this world. Because one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, and I tell people, go visit South Padre Island. People are like, what's that? I'm like, yo, it's right outside of Texas. It's the best kept secret in America right now. You better go see it before corporate America get to it. And
I gotta
just
make it down
experience
there
these things.
myself.
Yeah, go experience it with the family, man.
Yeah.
See, me and my wife used to just drive onto the beach park and just stay there. One day we stayed there for a couple of days, and when we finally went to go leave out the spot, our car was so sunken in the sand we had to dig it out.
Y'all sat there that long?
Yeah, we was there for like a day and a half, almost 2 days. We stayed the night right there.
Wow.
Yeah, like right on the water, see? The Gulf of Mexico, we just chilling. You know what it cost us?
Nothing. Gas to get there.
That's it.
Gas to get
there. And at the time I lived 40 minutes away from it and didn't even know it was there because I was living in Texas, man. And, I've lived in Texas. I've lived in North Carolina. I lived in Tampa, Florida. I lived in Brevard County, Florida. I've lived in the Seattle, Washington area. I've lived in, New Jersey, everybody know. But one of the things that helped me, man, was I lived up in Garrett Mountain when nobody knew I lived up there. And a bunch of my neighbors were some of the New York Giants and everything. Because one year I came home and just was like, I can't do Patterson. And as a metaphor, I just wanted to see myself above Patterson. So what do? I moved to the mountain.
Wow.
And Slam Magazine, Slam Magazine did a story on me. I know. It's crazy. I never even shared it with people, see? Wow. Slam Magazine did a story on me calling me the best kept secret in New Jersey. And God has just been good to me, man. And
you deserve it, okay? You deserve it, man.
Yeah.
Like your father, like definitely a stand-up dude, man.
Man, love that dude. He just was crazy, but I love that dude.
Stand-up dude, man. And let me tell you how much I appreciate you coming on and doing this, man. Like, you were the first phone call I made when I came up with this idea. Like, I didn't even have the logo yet. I didn't have the blurb about the podcast yet. I just said, you know what? Let me call Kay and see what he thinks. Because I know I would get the raw truth, right? If there's something that we should do, if it's not worth it, if it's worth it. And right away, you said, you know what? Let's do it. Because they need these kids need to hear this. These kids need to hear this. So I'm honored that you're taking part in this and you're participating. And I'm also pleased to announce to everybody that Kwan Johnson will be my co-host going forward. So any Making the Cut podcast that will come down the pike in the future, Kwan will be a part of. I'm grateful to have him. He's obviously, you guys see for yourself that he's an excellent individual, and he's somewhat, I would say, he's rehabilitated because I've never seen him this calm in my life.
Talk about it. See, I'm telling you, man, and that's what people really don't understand, man. Like, I got stories that I can't wait to share moving forward, but I got a question for you. And I know we didn't talk about this at all. what player today reminds you of you or where you would see yourself if you kept pursuing the basketball dream?
Player today.
That's deep, huh?
No, I got one. Because it's funny because my son and I talked about this. What's
All
the
right.
cat name? What's the dude name that played on the Portland Trailblazers? The second
CJ McCullough.
DJ McCollum. DJ McCollum.
Exactly. And listen, we didn't discuss this at all, right?
Yep.
Swear
I'm
that's
CJ
exactly
McCollum.
the
I know
dude
it's
I
CJ
thought of.
McCollum because I mid-range you to death.
To death. To death. And you
Yep.
know he's going to pull up at the free throw line somewhere.
Yep.
And that's the unique thing, man. And whew, even CJ McCullough, man, graduating from a small college and going on to pursue his career, man. So, like, opportunity and chances are out there.
Yep.
We just got to understand that failure is not bad. Failure is an experience that teaches you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand that. You know what I mean? Like, and again, see, this is why I live by this motto: scared money don't make money.
Yeah.
That's exactly my motto. Like, not being afraid to put myself out there and not worried about what's going to come back, because I'm Patterson born and raised, man. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, you playing with house money. We playing with house
Come
money.
on, man.
We playing with house money, most definitely. All right, so I want to leave our audience with this. Obviously, thank you for being my co-host going forward. I appreciate it. We're gonna do great things, Kay. I just know it because that's
You don't
just
even
who
got
we
to
are.
thank me, though.
That's just who we are, Kay. That's just who we
I
are.
appreciate the opportunity, brother, to grow together.
I just want people to remember that your current situation doesn't have to be your permanent situation, right? Keep pushing forward towards greatness. Whatever you want to do, like that's not a cliche. Like, you can be whatever you want to be, or you can be damn near close to it. It could be right next door. You may not be able to be an NBA player, but there's people that work for the NBA that has hella great careers and they're doing great things. So maybe it's not for you to be an NBA. Maybe it's for you to work right close to the people who are the stars in the NBA. But keep pushing forward, and trust me, you'll find your way. Thank you all for joining us, and look forward to our future podcasts.